Hey guys, Brian delivered you the goods here. I'm returning to you tonight for this next album review, and sorry for the delay for this next review. It's just I've been a little busy today and I had to work. So, this is for the new Ice Cube album, Man Down, his new record that I got a chance to listen to. His first record in quite a while. I can't remember his last record's name, but I know it was a little while ago. But overall, I'm going to discuss what I listened to for Ice Cube's new record, Man Down, and let you know my thoughts on this 19-track record overall for the hour and almost 2 minutes. So let's dive into this album review. Now, with what I listened to, I was quite impressed with this record. You have pretty much Rollin' at Twilight, which is the opening track. And Ice Cube sounds really good in this track with how he's rapping and all that. So I'm really digging this song. And Ice Cube's vocals in it and his regular rapping is pretty good. And he's very underrated of a rapper for sure. So 4.75 out of 5 for Rollin' at Twilight. It's My Ego is a good song. Pretty basic and get some good rapping, and he mentions some moments where he says Will Smith smacks Chris Rock and all that, so he mentions that in this song, and it's like, oh shit. But it literally did happen a year or two ago. But overall, I think It's My Ego is a 4.5 out of 5. So Sensitive is a good song in its own way. I think with how Ice Cube is rapping this track, it sounds pretty dope. And I'm really digging the flow of this song too. So, um, some of the chorus is hit or miss, but other than that, I still dig this song for what it goes for. 4.5 out of 5. She's Sanctified featuring Snoop Dogg, E40, Too Short, and October London. Actually, a pretty good song from what I listened to. I mean, there were some moments that I felt this track didn't strike the landing with me, but overall, it's a good song. 4.5 out of 5. There were some pretty good moments and some good moments, so final score 4.5 out of 5 for She's Sanctified. Not Like Them is a good track in its own way, too. I really do dig this one in its own way, so it performed pretty well for what it went for. 4.5 out of 5 for this one. Ice Cube's rapping in it is strong, and just the verses and some of the chorus is pretty solid. 5150 is a pretty good song. I really am digging this track with the flow, with how Ice Cube's rapping, and when he's kind of rapping, singing in the chorus, sounds pretty good for what it goes for. So, really digging this track. 4.75 out of 5. No Cap featuring K Major, Ishadon, and Mike Epps. Actually was a pretty good song too. I'm really digging this one as well. So I'd give this a strong 4.75 out of 5. There were some moments in the track that were hit or miss, but overall, it's still a strong track for what it goes for. So 4.75 out of 5 for No Cap. It did pretty well for what it went for. Sorry, I was getting distracted by my phone, just looking into the Ice Cube Man Down album, looking into the history behind it and all that. So, pretty much, yeah, No Cap, 4.75 out of 5. Three Little Piggies was a pretty short track. It's almost 2 minutes, but it's has some good moments with the mixing and production. And just overall, Ice Cube's rapping in it from time to time is pretty dope. So 4.5 out of 5. Ghetto Story. Excuse my coughing. Ghetto Story is a pretty good song in its own way. I'm really digging how Ice Cube's rapping and some of the way the singing in the background sounds in the chorus did pretty well, so 4.75 out of 5 for this one. It's pretty dope of a track, and I really dig the melody too, and how it's mixed and produced. Facts, featuring JD Lunch Mob, is a 4.5 out of 5. I do dig this song. It does have some good bars. The Ice Cube's rapping, and JD Lunch Mob sounds pretty good rapping in this track, so this is another 4.5 out of 5. It has some dope moments in the track, but a few execution flaws that I don't know if I could feel for, but other than that, good song in its own way. Fighting for My Life in Paradise featuring Corrupt. Good song in its own way. Not anything that I'm crazy about, but I still do dig the track. 4.5 out of 5. Let's Get Money Together featuring Be Real. Good song in its own way. I do dig some of Be Real's rapping and Ice Cube's rapping in this. It's pretty strong in its own way. Some of the mixing and production kind of gets overplayed, and this track does have a repetitious chorus, or not too repetitious, but it's a little repetitious. It's in a good way, but in a mid way, meaning it's kind of mid of a song. So 4.5 out of 5. I'm a Burn Rubber is a good song in its own way. I do dig some of the moments in this track, but some of the execution is hit or miss. So it's another 4.5 out of 5 for this one too. I just think with Ice Cube's rapping, it's not terrible, but it's mediocre. It's a good song, but it still has some mediocre moments with the mixing and production. Especially You kind of has this, I guess, disco feel to it, and I'm not sure if I'm connecting with it, but overall, it's still a good song. For the rapping, excuse my yawning, I'm going to be going to bed very shortly. But overall, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 for Especially You. Break the Mirror featuring Exhibit is a good song in its own way. I do dig this song for how it sounds, and it's another solid track to keep the record going. So 4.5 out of 5. Exhibit's rapping is pretty good. And then you have Ice Cube starting off with his rapping was pretty strong. Talking about these rappers is basically he's talking about rappers that are being harassed on the internet and on Discord and all that. So I don't know. Pretty much, it's not a bad track. It's just hit or miss. But other than that, it's a good song for how it is played out. So 4.5 out of 5. Scary Movie is a good song for how it sounds. With the mixing and production, it did pretty well for what it went for. So, and Ice Cube's rapping is solid. So 4.5 out of 5. Take Me to Your Leader is the second to last song before you get to the remix track of the next song, which I will be talking about the next song in a second. Take Me to Your Leader did have some good moments, but it was a little short and did pretty well in its own way. But I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 for the closing track. It did alright for what it went for. And then It's My Ego, kind of called Egomaniacs, featuring Busta Rhymes and Killer Mike. I think this song it's like a remix version of It's My Ego, but it doesn't sound terrible. It's a good track. Even the original was good in its own way. But overall, as with Busta Rhymes and Killer Mike, it did good in its own way. Busta Rhymes did have some good bars, for sure. I'll give him credit where it's due on that. He did have some strong bars. But overall, Ice Cube's rapping was pretty good. But I think Busta Rhymes was the highlight for the song. And even though Ice Cube did sound pretty good with his rapping, Killer Mike didn't sound so bad with his rapping. So I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 for the closing track. So overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I think Ice Cube's new record, Man Down, is a good record in its own way. I wouldn't say it's a record I would come back to from time to time, but I wouldn't say it's something I'd listen to all the time. Just on a if I'm feeling down for an Ice Cube record, or if I'm in the mood for an Ice Cube record, this is the record I'll go for, and probably his other discography too as well, which I still have to listen to it. So if anyone wants to throw in a request, I do charge for it, but definitely let me know if you guys want to throw in a request for Ice Cube's discography. That's something I do want to check out. But in order to do that, I have to be paid to do that, unfortunately, because times are tough nowadays, and I gotta make some kind of profit off YouTube and in doing something. So pretty much, for a score, I'm giving Ice Cube's new record, Man Down, an 8 out of 10. It's a good record. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. It did come out on November 22nd. I will have one more album review to check out for Voila Glass Half Empty Part 2. So Part 1 came out in June, and now we got another one that just came out on the 22nd of November. So we'll be checking that out and giving you my thoughts on it. So 8 out of 10 for Ice Cube, Man Down. I hope you enjoyed this album review. This long-awaited album review that I know you guys have been waiting for throughout the weekend, going into Monday as of now. And thank you guys for watching this album review tonight. Have a good night.